You wouldn't have to, because you're selling, right?
Yeah.
Your selling is now, it's just a genuine conversation.
Yeah.
You're not overthinking it. You're not trying to roll
Right.
objection techniques out there. You're not trying to roll your transition. You're not looking at a script. You're not doing anything but connecting with
Exactly.
that buyer. And you're connecting again on such a genuine and authentic level. It's as
One
if they're
day,
talking with a very good friend.
absolutely. One day, working in Amsterdam,
Right,
selling stock, and my manager verified the deals. Peter. They call me B, I call him P.
right.
He's walking up to my desk. He's got a piece of paper in his hand, and he's shaking his head with a smile. I go, hey, P, what's up? He says, I don't know what the hell you told this guy,
Mm-hmm.
but he told me he had a business. He has 300 salesmen under him, and that was the best conversation / sales pitch he has ever heard. He said, I don't even know what I bought. I had to have 10,000 shares of his stock. I had to have 10.
And do you
Would
know
please tell me
why?
what I bought? And
Do,
he paid that day.
wow.
Australian
Do
guy.
you know
Great
why,
guy.
though? Why did that happen, and why did he feel that way?
We were, because I was in a rhythm at that time.
You had a
I had my own
cadence,
office.
right?
I had it going, man. I was feeling
Right.
it. I was feeling it. I was in a great.
You were the running back who had the
Right.
25 touches in the game. You just couldn't be stopped, right?
Right.
What?
I've already far exceeded, what my expectations. We got paid every 2 weeks for the 2 weeks, and I was just rocking and rolling. I was in a groove.
You were having fun, though, weren't you?
Yeah, I was having fun.
Right?
Exactly.
You were
Doing what I
having
love.
fun. You believed in what you were selling and talking about, which was a big deal, because that passion, that energy is transferable, and it transfers to
Absolutely.
your client or
Yeah.
customer, right?
Yeah.
Now, you may not know the science behind it, but who cares, because it was working. And
Working,
that was
right.
you. That was
Yeah.
who you were. That was who you believed in. That's who you were influenced by, was your passion and your energy for what you were talking about. It wasn't a sale.
Confidence.
It wasn't a sale. It was taking, like you said, that confidence you had in what you were talking about, and you were helping him,
Yeah.
right? Because this was going to help him in some way, shape, or form. And he appreciated that.
Another quick story. Amsterdam, we're doing a private placement, right? For Fortis Bank, which is taken over by ING Bank.
Right.
Big bank.
Yeah. ING is a big bank.
So
Yep.
we're running it through there, and we're selling a private placement. I called this guy, a German guy, right? And I'm in my thing. I'm doing my thing. Doors closed. I have my own office. Doors closed. Small office. And I stand up. I throw my body into it, We got the old dog and bone, with the extra long cord. And this and that and the other. Guy says, okay. He says, I'll take 10,000 shares. He says, I'll go with the 10,000.
Right.
Not like that, but, ended up, he was a deal, 55 grand, right?
So 10,000 shares for 55,000. Okay.
Right, at 550 a share. I'm working on 20 points, right? Beautiful sale. That was a Wednesday. He went to the bank on Thursday, sent me the receipt, right? Money's on the way. The money hit Friday morning. He called Friday afternoon to cancel.
He had buyer's remorse.
So they sent him to me. And he said, I said, Fritz, what happened? He said, you were so convincing. You were so excited that I had to have this.
Exactly.
I had to have some of this. I said, let me tell you something. And I got even more excited. And more. And he said, no, let's stick where we're at. A couple weeks later, I went in and loaded them up again, and this guy bought like 6-7 times. But that showed, again, another example of
what does that show if you were training or teaching, right? What does that demonstrate, that story right there of the gentleman buying a huge amount of shares of stock and then comes back the next day and says, basically, I need to cancel. But
Right.
instead of canceling him, you got to be even more excited about the purchase. And he stayed with it. And not only that, but reloaded in a couple of weeks for more.
Yes, 6, 7
Right.
times. Yeah.
Because
yeah.
it's the buyer's remorse is reaction from internal, our own nervous system, that states that, oh my God,
Yeah.
you made a mistake.
Yeah.
We go into fight or flight mode. They call back,
Yeah.
right? Better to lose or get out of what I had rather than take the risk and gain something, because I hate that unnerving feeling. I don't know what's going to happen. There's a ton of uncertainty for people, and you need that certainty, right? A lot of us do. But you were able to overcome that with the passion and the energy again. So what would you tell someone is the moral of that story?
Yeah, right. Yeah. You know, it was basically, luckily, stock I sold him was at 550. When he called back a few days later, it was at 650. I said, you've already made 10 grand.
You already showed him the gains, yeah.
I promised you 30 to 40% in 90 to 120 days. I've already made you 10 grand overnight.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Oh, it's like that, huh?
Now I don't want to
Okay,
lose what I
now-
made.
Now he's doing.
Mhm.
Now he's doing my friend. Okay, my friend.
Yes.
My friend. Now that right?
Yes. Now you're coming over for dinner.
Found his friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's critical in not only in the dialogue portion of these conversations, which gets us to have these conversations, right? This communication, is back and forth that we have naturally, rather than us trying to dictate the conversation or lead it in a certain way, which is inauthentic to the way the conversation should be happening.
Right. Should be.
Right? Because all I'm doing is I'm trying to pretend that I'm listening, and I'm asking a few questions to get you to where I want to start talking about things.
Right.
And that's the damn dumbest thing you could do. They're like, well, my company says I have to talk about this.
Hang up. Right.
And I say, that's great. There's certain terms and conditions that you have to do. But beyond that, if it's not important to the client or the customer, why are you bringing it up? Because all you're going to do is possibly raise more questions and give them more to think it over by the end of the conversation.
I'd walk into a place and I knew all the guys. It was a group, pretty much the same guys. And they'd go, the owner would say, if I didn't know the owner, he'd say, yeah, we've got a new guy starting. This is Bruce. And they all go, yeah, we know Bruce. They put their head down. They know who's going to be at the top of the board at the end of the week.
Within days or weeks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's that confidence that comes from that, right? And it's always the challenge is whenever you start something new or go somewhere new, that confidence has to be rebuilt. Now, you might have it, but you haven't done it yet in this situation or this scenario. And and it's hard. You can look at all your accomplishments, and I don't care if you're a billionaire, a multi-millionaire, or you're just starting out with your first small business. And I met a lady today who is doing T-shirts. She does T-shirts, and she does imprints on mugs and tumblers and stuff like that. And I said, how's business going? She goes, it's really good. I'm really focused on this Eagles win, which, we'll take, hallelujah, all day long. And however, I'm like, well, what are your ideas for scaling it? She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you've got to get to a point where you're not working in the business, you're working on the business. So it's not, you didn't just create a job for yourself, right? She goes, I never thought of it that way because I don't want to be doing this 24/7. I said, so that's where do you need to be revenue-wise? Where do you need to be people-wise? How many orders do you need? How do you get to that place? You guys have a lot to think about. She said, I didn't even think about, all that stuff. And it's like, right? But even when we're creating a new venture, we've got to go back and do the things all over again sometimes, unless we have that experience and we know who to hire to help us grow or matriculate, what we already have, or expand on it in a faster way, or we know the advertising backstories behind Facebook and Google and how to really make that work for us. But there's so many things that go into it. It's that, but she had so much passion, so much passion. I said, well, can you make an Eagles cup? She goes, absolutely. Let me send you over a couple of mock-ups. I said, cool. Let's see what you have.
Yeah.
Right? So my point is, you just never know. how much your passion is going to carry into the next conversation, right? And the passion doesn't necessarily have to be for the product. It can be for what the product or service does for the person.
Oh yeah, I would always end a conversation. Somebody's not buying, and we had a good conversation. I feel good. I always ended off in a positive note. So I'm hi.
Right.
The next guy.
So let's always focus on how we're benefiting the buyer or the customer, because when we benefit the buyer or the customer, that's always the right thing for all of us involved in a transaction, in the conversation. It's the best thing for everybody. So it lowers your resistance, it lowers your buyer's remorse later on, and it actually increases retention, which is where a lot of the gross profits or gross margins, the best gross margins come from. So that's the key. Do what's right. Do what's right for others, so we can actually have a great dialogue, great conversation, and a great experience. That's the key.